Over to South Africa now, where the trial of five men accused of gunning down Bafana Bafana star goalkeeper is set to go ahead today. It's been nearly 8 years since the soccer captain Senzo Meyiwa was gunned down at the house of his musician girlfriend. The men were arrested in 2020. Today, they will be appearing in the Pretoria High Court, charged with murder, attempted murder, armed robbery, possession of firearms with a license, among other charges.
And in another twist, one of the men who will stand trial has just been handed down a sentence for different murder. The trial comes on the back of Netflix launching a docu-series about the soccer star's death, which has captivated South Africans. Joining us this morning to unpack this story is Candice Bailey. Candice, we've been monitoring this trial, and this trial should have gone ahead yesterday. Can you bring us up to speed as to what caused the delay?
Morning, Aluchi. Morning, Joe. Indeed, the trial was set to go ahead this morning, yesterday morning, in fact. What happened is that the lawyers for one of the accused asked for postponement. What we saw by yesterday afternoon were reports that she felt that her client was being ambushed, that they'd only received the statements that witnesses had deposed in the trial about 2 weeks ago, and she had not had time to consult with her client, and she then asked for a postponement, saying that she needed to do that consultation. Yesterday, we also saw, heard, in fact, a bit of a snippet in the court that two of the men were about to, or would be, confessing to the murder of the soccer star. But that hasn't really gone ahead yet. I think that will only really come to the fore later in the trial when they actually are, when the testimonies do take place.
Well, quite a sad story, no doubt, especially taking a look at that series on Netflix. Kind of like brings back memories. But tell us more about one of the men already being sentenced.
Indeed. So what we're seeing is that Stemba Sibiya, he's a 34-year-old man. So he's one of the five accused. The accused are all between the ages of 30 and 36, Joe. So they're quite young men. Well, what we saw is that last week he was convicted of attempted murder for gunning, for shooting at two people in the same area where this murder has happened, which is the community of Vosloorus, which is in the east of Gauteng. So he's now received a 12-year direct sentence for that murder, or that attempted murder, and he's now obviously going to go on trial for this. I must tell you that they have the several delays that have sort of across in this trial it's been quite difficult. In October last year, when the men first appeared, we heard that they didn't actually want to appear in the dock because they said that they didn't have any reason to believe that they weren't linked to the case at all. And now, in fact, Senzo's brother had also echoed the statements that these men were taking the fall for the crime. What we're seeing now is that actually the crime is that the trial is going ahead, and one of the prosecutors who's now turned private, he's now representing the family, does believe that the right people are on the stand, but he says that the mastermind behind this case has not yet been arrested. But he says that is a strategy of the prosecution, and he just wants the trial to go ahead. So very interesting developments in this case as we over the past few weeks.
All right, now 8 years for justice to be served. I can't imagine what the families of the soccer star is going through at this point in time. But now this documentary, it has started airing in South Africa. We understand that. Can you tell us what the reaction, what it has brought back? 8 years, nearly 8 years this happened, and we're walking down memory lane, reliving certain last moments in the life of the soccer star. What has been the reaction?
Lucia, the reaction has been quite crazy. I think it's gripped millions of South Africans. Senzo was a phenomenon in South Africa. He was the goalie of one of the biggest soccer teams in South Africa, Orlando Pirates. He was also the goalkeeper of Bafana Bafana. He was set to lead Bafana Bafana in 2014 in the AFCON games that year. So he was quite a star. And I think the documentary has really just brought back the memories, as you're saying. It's a 5-part documentary. It's now, at the moment, one of the top 10 docu-series that you can watch on Netflix in South Africa. Millions of people are watching it, and you can see there's lots of engagement on Twitter, where people saying, it's just really tragic, where they are able to see what actually unfolded. The documentary, or the docu-series, has been has been a good tale of, trying to piece together the pieces of what's happened. It's spoken about, the scene of the crime being botched. It's spoken about the love triangle that Senzo and his musician girlfriend Kelly Khumalo found herself in. Very interesting is that Kelly Khumalo is a star in her own right. She's been a musician in South Africa for years. She's quite popular, also controversial at times. So people have obviously wanted a piece into her life, into this love story that she's had with the soccer star and how it led to his fateful death on that day in October 2014.
All right. Does this documentary in any way, does it compromise the court's case in any way?
Joe, I do not think it compromises the court's case in any way. I mean, some of the criticism that's come out about the documentary is that it doesn't actually deal with any of the police, it doesn't speak to police officers, it doesn't speak to forensics at all. It really just pieces together the eyewitness accounts of what happened and, some of the family sentiments around the death of Senzo and how they feel about it. So at the moment, we don't believe that it compromises the trial anyway, but we obviously are yet to see what will unfold in the trial in the next few days.
All right, 8 years is a long time to get justice for a case that should have been long buried and family members gotten some form of closure. But thank you so much, Candice Bailey, for bringing us the update on that. We will be following the story closely in our subsequent bulletin.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.